So I want to talk about Joe Kent's resignation earlier today. For those of you that don't know, he's the director of the National Counterterrorism Center underneath the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, which is Tulsi Gabbard's office. Now, the man has a distinguished career as far as I know. I believe he deployed to Afghanistan and Iraq a total of 11 times, or maybe it was just Afghanistan. Either way, he has the counterterrorism credentials to be the director of the Counterterrorism Center. But there's some things that kind of trouble me with regards to his posting about his resignation. And I'll start with this paragraph here. He says, I cannot in good conscience support the ongoing war in Iran. Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation, and it is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby. In his formal letter, he goes in great detail about his history of supporting Trump from the very start and how he highlighted Trump's no new wars and America first type of mentality in his campaigns. He goes on to add an emotional tinge to this when he highlights the fact that he sadly lost his wife to a war that was manufactured by Israel. So clearly he has a very anti-Israeli bent to his narrative. It's that narrative that he and many other people are perpetuating, that this is somehow Israel's war, or that they dragged Trump, tricked Trump, told Trump, are in control of Trump, and this is why we're doing it is because of Israel. And I find it extremely strange, especially from Joe here, highlighting Trump's past in his letter, when Trump's past is riddled with evidence that he was always going to go after Iran. It's why that pretend Professor Zhang was able to predict it, because it was very obvious. I mean, not only did he have no problem taking out Iran's top general back during his first term, but throughout his history, even in his youth, he talked about how disgraceful the IRGC was and how they were able to take hostages, and that should have never been allowed, and losing Iran should have never been allowed. He's even made comments when he was younger about him saying that if he were president, he would take Iran, or rather defeat the IRGC. So I guess my point is that Trump's been extremely consistent between his first and second term. The two main things he's focused on in his first and second, from his first term, he has maintained through his second term, and that is the threat that China poses and the fact that he wanted retribution for America, basically, against the IRGC. And then he also goes and talks about the powerful Israeli lobby. When they, of course, everybody thinks of AIPAC. Well, those are American citizens lobbying Congress. And when you look at their total lobbying dollar amount year by year, it pales in comparison to countries like Qatar, who donate 10x to get influence over Congress compared to what AIPAC does. And they're not Americans doing it. And yet nobody says anything about Qatar and their influence. But we always want to focus on a little Israel. And so for Joe and many people like Joe to say that Trump has changed, I find him to be thus disingenuous in this thought process. I mean, here are two comments from recent history showing Joe's undying support to Trump. Definitely, I personally think we should have crushed their ballistic and nuke caps, but Trump has a plan. He has definitely earned the confidence of any clear-eyed observer. And then also about October 7th, because it happened because Biden and Harris gave Iran access to over $100 billion. And then there are a couple other tweets as well that show how Joe is in full support of Trump, and he identifies and recognizes the threat of the IRGC. And so I don't really think it's Trump that's changed, like so many people keep trying to say. I really think it's Joe that's changed, and I also think it's people never really understood Trump's position in the first place. I think the reality of the matter is this isn't Israel tricking Trump. This is really, or Netanyahu tricking Trump. This is really Netanyahu and Trump going in kind of hand in hand, like a partnership.